everyone. Right, thank you
Hi.
for joining us all this week. If anyone was here last week and joined us, thank you if you've come back to watch us a second time. If anyone's here who's a newbie as well, welcome. We really want to sort of encourage people to ask questions in the chat. So if anyone's watching, especially if you've got Crohn's or IBD or any mental health issues that if we talk about tonight and you want to ask a question, no question's too stupid or whatever, so drop them in the comments. The more people that do that, the better. We had a lot of people getting involved last week, which was really good. It was actually our most successful stream last week by almost two, I think probably like it went past double. It's almost been like triple any other stream. So thank you. We've also had quite a lot of new followers as well. The goal is to try and get to 50 to get to affiliate. I've reached every other target and we've now got to about 31. So we're literally 19 off affiliate now. So if you are watching tonight and you like what you see, please do give us a follow. So anyway, we'll get started now. Just as a heads up for anyone who's joining us, if this won't just be about Crohn's, it'll be about mental health as well. So even if you don't have Crohn's or IBD or a loved one with it, there still might be something of benefit to you. So without further ado, we'll get started. So I'll sort of introduce you a little bit first because we actually met on Facebook
Yeah.
after I asked a question about, I can't even pronounce the tablet name, so I'm on steroids at the
It's
minute. Is it
definitely.
is that what it is? I'm glad you can pronounce it.
Yeah.
And
It took me
basically
a few goes.
so basically I just put on there starting these new tablets. Recently been diagnosed with mild Crohn's. Is there anyone out there who's took them, on them, blah blah blah? Can you give me any advice? And you messaged me, didn't you? And we found out we'd actually got quite a lot in common. So it's been really nice. So we've been chatting ever since. So that's how me and Jen have got talking. So Jen, do you want to tell everyone who's watching a little bit about
Yeah.
yourself?
So, yeah, I'm Jen. I'm 34. And I'm a hairdresser as well. And it just seems like a bit of a crazy last few months, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a long road, but basically I started taking some like antidepressants when I was like about 20 years ago now. Because I had a bit of a hard time at school, and it stemmed all this anxiety. And I also got where I was getting psoriasis. It was really bad. That was about when I was about 15 as well. So that's sort of the start of everything. This sort of like this autoimmune um, problem, and so that's 20 years. You know, when you say it, it's like, oh my god, like I can't believe it's been so long. You know that I've been on them anyway. Sort of coming to now, and obviously with everything that's happened, and I was on a very very small dose of antidepressants, and when lockdown started, I thought to myself, well, you know, it's really hard to even talk to the doctors at the moment anyway. Should I just try and come off them?
Oh no.
because I was literally on like the smallest dose, and I
What was you
thought, well, you know,
taking, Jen?
so I was on citalopram.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I was literally having like 10 milligrams every 2 days.
Yeah, that's not
So
too
I,
bad.
so I thought to myself, well, you know, do you actually need them anymore? So I thought it was a bit of an opportunity when lockdown started. I'll try it out, and then and then quite a lot of things happened, quite a lot of stress, and there was a few issues that I had, and you know, nothing like life changing or anything, but just stress. And obviously, because we can't work as well, there's no money coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
There's nothing. Um, and then I started getting some gut symptoms, and I thought to myself, you know, because I've always had sort of IBS symptoms,
Yeah.
on and off. Nothing to sort of write home about or anything like that, but sometimes I'd be sort of, if I'd gone out for a meal or something, and I come home and literally it felt like something was punching me into, like, internally in my stomach. It was that bad, like really, more than the usual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never really thought about it though. But once it sort of settled down, I just thought about it. Anyway, so when I stopped, I started getting all these like different symptoms. So I started like going to the toilet more. I started getting like a pain. It was sort of like your belly button area, but like to the left.
See, I'm the same, but to my right. So I'm
Oh
slightly
no,
off.
sorry. Hang on. Let me
Is
think.
it you?
Sorry.
I would have thought it's your
It's my
right.
right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say yeah. So similar sort of area then I would say because it's almost when you small and large meat, it's like if I stand up a little bit for people at home. So
It's
it's
really
sort of
weird
like
place. It's
here,
like,
yeah, like this sort of side, and mine sometimes
yeah,
radiates
yeah. So it
back.
was like,
Yeah,
sometimes like, because obviously like with us being girls as well, like
yeah,
sometimes I think, oh, could it be like period pain or anything like that?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it just didn't sit right.
yeah,
So this carried on for like, well, like, because you watch these things, don't you, saying if you've had like diarrhea for like 3 weeks, you need to
yeah,
contact your
yeah,
doctor.
yeah,
So I did, and obviously it's all on the phone, and she did right. Really, she just said, right, we need to do a blood test, and you need to come in and do a like a stool sample.
yeah, yeah,
And at the time, I just thought to like, well, that's just like, it seems a bit extreme, that, because it sort of felt like maybe I've got like a gluten intolerance or something, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
kicked off now.
yeah.
I did actually get one of those, um, the gluten test, like these ones online that they tell you not to get because it's not very accurate.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I ended up spending 15 quid on Amazon or whatever. So I got this gluten test, and it showed that I was totally fine in that aspect. So that's when I was like, right, okay, I think I need to maybe say something now. So yeah, straight away she was on it. There was no messing around, because I know there's quite a lot of people that go on saying that they go to the doctor and they sort of automatically think, oh, it's like IBS or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, or stress related.
Yeah,
But I don't know if it's because of lockdown. She just said, right, we'll just get on with it straight away. There's no messing around.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and yeah, she took this stool sample off and whatever, and it came back, and I got this phone call, and it was a Friday. I can remember it because I just like didn't know how to take it really. She just
yeah.
said, yeah, we've got your test back, and your tests reveal like your liver function's high,
Okay.
and that
Yeah,
your inflammation levels are high as well, and
yeah,
it's indicating that you've got something called IBD,
yeah,
and that she goes on about Crohn's and colitis or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but she said, don't worry. She said it's easily treated, and I would just, like when somebody says stuff and you just don't believe, it's like, oh, it's easy. And I just thought, why has she said that to me?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did, and I ended up Googling it all, didn't I?
Yeah, best
And
friend Google when you've got any health complaint, but especially like IBD and that.
it was the worst thing I think I've ever done. I mean, we've got a bit of an ongoing joke now, like, just I need to ban Google off all my phones and all. Like, it's really bad, because my mind went straight to surgery and all
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it didn't really show anything else,
I must
apart
admit,
from,
I think with the NHS website, I must admit, don't get me wrong, I know it's there to like give people an idea of health problems and stuff, but I don't know if you've been on the NHS website when it comes up with
yeah,
Crohn's, it mentions obviously like your
yeah,
risk of cancer and stuff. Um,
Oh yeah.
I sort of feel like it's a little bit, considering it's there for education purposes and for symptoms and stuff like that, it is a little bit frightening. Whereas if you go on like the
Yeah.
Crohn's and Colitis website, they're very
Mm.
like tactful, I think, in the way that they say like it's totally normal to have this is the medication, and it's really good, and
Yeah.
you can find out loads on that website, and it's done in such a good way that like my friends have joked, like some of them have said that they've like googled sometimes about Crohn's to try and understand what I'm going through a bit better. And a little bit of me thinks, oh, I don't know if I'd want you googling it, because I feel like the NHS website is probably going to
Mm.
come up further to the top, and like you say, instantly think of like surgery and stuff, and like
Well,
having
it
a
just
bag
sort of.
and scaremongering you a
Mm.
little.
Yeah. And obviously because we sort of got, I think both of us got this sort of like diagnosis of like mild
Yeah,
um Crohn's. There's nothing really about the scale of it. It's just gone straight to um
yeah,
sort of 70% of people have surgery and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It's a bit of a scale, but that website that you mentioned, the Crohn's and Colitis
yeah,
UK, I found that really helpful
yeah,
actually, because there is actually there's like a helpline and things you can ring all the time,
yeah,
or there's like a chat thing that you can.
yeah. So
Um,
with the Crohn's and Colitis website, I would love to eventually. So when you get to like 50 followers, you can start setting up where you've got like your subscriptions, and like you can get people donate. I want to be able
yeah,
to target to be able to donate to like causes like that, because they're a godsend to people like us who, especially when you first start in your journey. They can
yeah.
put you in touch with other people, so it works very much like some of the Facebook
Oh
groups do
yeah,
and stuff. I mean, I signed up to their like their year thing with the membership with the key and
yeah,
like your
yeah. I did all
newsletters, and
that.
yeah, and then obviously donate a bit extra because like to be honest, it was £15. I was like, that's dirt cheap considering how much it's already been beneficial
Yeah,
to me. So if
yeah.
there is anyone watching who's in the UK, definitely go there. Or if you've got family or whatever, or you trying to find out more about a friend who's got it, I'd say that's a nicer website to go on, because it goes way more in depth into. You can even find
Mm.
about like the tablet your friend's on, let alone anything else. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so carry on, Jen, with your story.
So yeah, that all got sent off, and it came back quite quickly. And
Yeah,
she said, right, you're gonna need to wait now for your gastroenterologist to ring you and stuff. And yeah, so it was a bit of a whirlwind. Really. The next thing she said, oh yeah, she said, you might have to have the colonoscopy. And
yay,
I just thought,
like them.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And at the time, like, I didn't even like tell anyone at the time,
yeah,
because I was like, I honestly thought she'd just come back and say, look, it's just like IBS, it'll be fine, you just need to
yeah,
take so tablets or whatever. So yeah, so then I got my letter through, and yeah, I got booked in. In the meantime, though, like we're talking about mental health and stuff, I just took an absolute nosedive.
I know
I
that
really did.
feeling.
It was awful. I just had images of me having to quit work and having to stop doing everything, and I didn't really see like any way out of it all. I just yeah, it was hard. So I have gone back on antidepressants for now,
Yeah, yeah.
just to see how we get on, just for this period.
Yeah, in some
Um,
cases they say that they do help a little bit with your stomach, because obviously they usually give them to people with IBS sometimes to try and
yeah,
um
well, my symptoms actually improved about a week or two after I started again.
really, that's quite
Um,
interesting, that is.
and I rang the doctor and I said, because I was ringing my doctor in tears. She must have
Yeah,
thought I was crazy. Like I'll just say, look, I don't know what's going on. Like you told me this, and yeah, so we went back. Yeah, so we went back on the antidepressant stuff. Yeah, she said because of because you said about IBS and stuff. She
Yeah,
said, oh well, it's sometimes that's IBS related. It could all still be IBS. So in the back of my mind, I was like,
yeah,
this still
trying to
could be
tell.
IBS.
Yeah, yeah,
And I thought, well, that's a better outcome or whatever than Crohn's or colitis or
yeah.
um. So I went for my colonoscopy, and that night was interesting. The you were talking
Yeah,
about prep up with.
yeah. So me and Joe last week, if anyone watched the stream last week, will have seen me and Joe joking about it because I was telling him about my endoscopy and colonoscopy because I had them both done together. So if anyone's watching and didn't watch last week, I'd definitely say go back and watch because Joe's literally wetting himself laughing at me while I describe what an endoscopy is like. But yeah, everyone always jokes about the prep being far worse than the colonoscopy, but obviously as well, it's a thought of keeping, I assume, having to keep having them done from now on because obviously you're going to have to be monitored.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, when I went to pick it up, I'd actually gone this first time I actually saw somebody face to face. I had to go see this liver guy, because of my liver
yeah, yeah, yeah,
enzymes.
yeah,
Um, and they said, right, whilst you're here, you can pick up your prep.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, yay, let's see what this is like. Anyway, there's a waiting room full of people,
Mm,
and I seen this pharmacy, and I'm not kidding you, that massive packs, like literally rows of this movie prep
yeah,
just piled up, and I'm thinking, oh god. So literally everybody in that waiting room
was getting more
was waiting for this like
awful
laxative,
stuff.
so they could, and they all were having it the same day as me as well. And that, I think that sort of got me through drinking it all, thinking, well,
You're not alone.
at least I'm not the only person having to do
Yeah,
this tonight.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but that is quite interesting. But you know, it, I mean, quite a lot of people can't stomach it. I didn't do that bad with it. It's sort of like it's like a salty like lemon sip sort of taste, isn't it? It's like lemony.
I
Um,
actually read a blog as I was drinking it um,
okay.
about a guy who I'll send it you after, basically saying it's a little bit like goat spit mixed with urinal cleanser and a hint of lemon, and I was wetting myself because it describes
Mm.
it perfectly.
Yeah, I
um,
didn't think of that. I just like, getting this like salty, like awfulness.
yeah,
And like, I was saying like I'm trying to get shot glasses and trying to do it that way and stuff, and then I ended up with a straw and
it's just
just
it's awful. Yeah.
trying to get it down.
Um,
Um,
Yeah, I must admit I did better than I expected I'd do with it, but I think you're so determined to find
yeah,
out what's wrong with you, especially when you're in pain, that it's amazing the sort of stuff you'll do. You find the strength from somewhere.
yeah,
We've just had a
and also as
message.
well,
Sorry, we've just had a message coming through saying that's the same stuff that I've had. I just plugged my nose and chugged it. Fair play. They reckon if you do it fast, sometimes you're more
yeah,
prone to being sick. So, and you definitely don't want to
because
start again.
the lady said to me, I mean, because she announced the instructions to me and these other guys in front of everyone, like about how
Yeah,
to drink it and stuff, and she sort of said, don't drink it
yeah,
too
too
fast because
quick.
you felt
Yeah,
really bad, like it'll just hit
yeah,
you all
yeah.
at once.
I was
Um,
timing it every 15 minutes. I was making myself drink 250 ml every 15 minutes. So I was like staggering it out and I got a glass of water as well to try and ease it. I found that was the best way of doing it is actually time yourself because then you sort of pressurizing yourself to sort of drink it's all
yeah,
but in a staggered amount of time as well, so you have to sort of go right,
yeah.
come on, it's been nearly 15 minutes, you've got to like finish drinking it, and I found that was the best for me. On reflection, I think I'd probably use a straw. I didn't use a straw, but I think I'd use a straw.
I I did use a straw, and I felt like
Yeah,
not enough was going in. So it took about 2 hours, I think, for me
Yeah,
to
yeah.
drink. But I think that's about the estimate time they
That's
say,
how
though, isn't it?
long,
About 2
really.
hours.
They reckon between an hour to 2 hours to sort of drink it. They reckon if you've done it in less than an hour, you're probably being too fast about it.
Being too fast.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely an experience for anyone who's never had one. I mean, going off subject slightly, I was joking with my friends the other day saying about. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had to have this, but I've even had like a finger in my bum and all sorts at this point. I've had that like twice now. And then like, I'm just trying to think what else we was on about the other day, and I was saying, like, some of the stuff that you sort of go through, you stop sort of questioning it eventually.
Mm,
You just sort of
yeah.
that you go in and it's like, right, what do you want to do to me? Which part of my body do you want to see? You just sort of get on with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hadn't even seen a doctor at this point. So obviously they weren't letting anybody into the surgery at all. Like you'd have to, I don't know, have a rash or something to actually go in. And even then, I think you have to take pictures. So she just wanted
Yeah.
me go straight into,
Oh, the
getting
yeah,
a
colonoscopy, yeah.
diagnosis. So yeah, so actually at my appointment was the first time I'd actually met my consultant,
Oh wow,
and still
okay,
have
yeah.
she, um, and she was telling me about what she was going to do. Well, actually, the nurses were telling me what she was going to do. They were really nice. The nurses are,
Oh yeah, they've been
so
fantastic with
so
me to be fair,
nice.
yeah.
Because I always have this joke about like my consultant, they've got to be so black and white. There's no emotion there at all, and sometimes you just need someone to like hold your hand and go, it's gonna. You just need to do this, get a diagnosis, and it's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
okay. Where she comes in, and she's like, right, we need to do this, this is what your numbers are and stuff, and it's just a bit okay. I'll just do whatever you tell me to do. Um, so yeah, so the colonoscopy was the first time I actually met her. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and, and I tried to be a hero, and I said to them, I don't need sedation. I think I'll be fine.
I was the total opposite. I was like, give me everything you've got.
No, I just thought because I'm not one of those people that like can put up with quite a lot. And I thought to myself, oh, yeah. And as well, because they were taking biopsies as well, and they said to me,
Yeah,
you'll
me
not be
too.
able to feel it. Because it's in your in your
Yeah,
colon and
yeah.
stuff. There's no nerve, so I
I
thought,
love that
well,
comment that's just come in. The sedation's the best part.
yeah,
I agree. I must admit, I like the fact I don't remember half of mine. I'd literally give me the good stuff. I'm not bothered. I don't
yeah.
need to
Well,
remember.
I managed half,
Yeah.
and then it just
I
was
don't
too
know how you
much, and
managed to do
she
it. No. Yeah.
it was that, yeah, because I was saying to my husband, I was like, so right, there's two bends, right, and I need to go through it, and he's like, yeah, and I said I got to pass the first one, that second one.
Mm.
I don't know what happened, but it just really hurt. So anyway, so I had is it cannula stuff anyway, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she just looked at me, and my consultant, I just said, you're gonna have to sedate me, and then there's a nurse passing me gas and air at the same time,
Okay, yeah,
and
that's good.
after that it was fine, and I don't know why I just didn't do it in the first place. But
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
thing is that you need to sort of be monitored for 24 hours afterwards, don't you? Just because you're a bit
Yeah, yeah, but it's not
woozy and a
bad. It's
bit.
just a family member, ain't it? So it's
Exactly,
not
yeah.
too bad.
I think I just felt really tired actually after. I didn't feel like woozy or stuff. I just felt like I just could go to sleep.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
24 hours
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
But um, yeah. So to be fair, I should have just had sedation straight away, and it'd have been
You
totally
won't
fine. I
make
wouldn't
that
be.
mistake your next time round.
No, no. I was like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Oh, my
And
camera's gonna
there was
time off. Yeah,
and
carry on.
um. So yeah, and I remember there was another girl next to me as well. It was weird. There was like two cubicles,
Yeah,
um, and then the colonoscopy like sort of room or whatever next to us and stuff. And I remember her going in, and she was literally in and out within about 10 minutes. There was
yeah.
no messing around with her. But she had a salt spray.
Okay.
I don't know how that works, but they obviously knew about it, and she was straight in and out, and getting a prescription wrote there and then. You know, it's quite efficient.
Bloody hell.
um, anyway, they actually didn't see anything on my colonoscopy,
Oh
which
no. Yeah, so now that's your
which
pill
was
cam.
yeah
Your pill cam will do the job of that for you now.
yeah. I sort of felt really like sad and a bit mad at the same time that they hadn't found something, because I thought, oh, you know, once this is done, I can just sort of have some tablets and
I
get on with
thought that
stuff. But
I
it
thought the
wasn't.
same as you, but obviously on mine they did obviously find that also, but
Yeah,
they did still say it wasn't enough to fully confirm it, so they wanted to look at my obviously small intestine, so I had the pill cam, which is obviously what you're gonna have.
yeah.
If
So
any, sorry, carry on, Jen.
I was just saying. So that's when because she booked me in for a MRI,
Yeah,
um, and that was like a few weeks after,
yeah,
and that's where they found
yeah. So
that
the
I had a thickening in the terminal lumen.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, litus is what they found, and
yeah.
yeah, and yeah. So she wants to do a pill cam as well, but that's not for another. That's not until my steroids are stopped, which is in a few weeks' time.
Do you know what I don't
Um,
understand with yours? The fact that they've
go
put
on.
you on steroids and then they're going to put a pill cam through you after they've started
I
treating
just,
you. I
I
don't
just
get
think she
that.
wants.
What they're
Yeah,
looking
well,
for.
she said they're looking for something called mucosal disease or something.
Oh, don't know.
Right,
Pass.
okay. So I think what she's trying to find is any like subtle changes or anything. I've
Oh,
no
okay.
idea.
Yeah.
Or she's just doing it because she wants to have a look. And
Being a bit
I'm probably,
sadistic and wants to have a look inside, see what
yeah,
Jen's insides are made of.
yeah, yeah. Why not? I mean, apparently I'm a good candidate for it. So yeah. Um, so yeah. So that's where I am. So I've just she's saw that, and she's put me on 14 weeks of budesonide.
Yeah.
6 weeks of like the 9 milligrams and then tapering off. So
Yeah.
I think I've got about 2 or 3 weeks left,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna have a look and see where I am.
Which is good, though, that
Uh,
they're checking up as well.
yeah,
So,
I need to have a DEXA bone scan as well, because they did find that I was low in calcium as well,
okay.
which
Is
which
common.
could be because of the Crohn's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am on a calcium supplement as
With
well. She's
with your liver, Jen, are they doing any other tests as well? Because I know I had to have a bile acid
yeah.
malabsorption test I did as well.
So, I mean, this is going off subject a bit, but he suspected it was like drug induced, so like
Okay.
stuff with the antidepressants. And
Yeah.
I actually I actually came off my contraceptive pill,
Hmm.
and I think we've sort of found that it was that was
Oh
triggering these
wow.
like high. But in light of all that as well, now this might just be like coincidence. I don't know, and don't take it like as. But my psoriasis has now disappeared since I stopped taking the contraceptive pill.
Okay.
It's like I have struggled with psoriasis for, well, like I say, like 20 odd years. I've
Yeah.
been on like steroid cream. I've been on all these ointments. I've been on sunbeds. I've even got a UVB machine.
Yeah.
Um, and it just wasn't,
Nothing.
doing
Yeah.
anything. And I'm probably like 99% clear now.
That's so crazy to think that, because obviously, in fact, I don't know if you've been on my Instagram. This is literally the last hour. I did just share a sarcastic comment that I saw
Yeah.
about what
Oh
females
yeah,
have
you
to go
did.
through with birth control,
Yeah.
and like,
Like all the hormone changes and
yeah,
stuff.
because like I only went on the pill in the first place because of how painful it was. And
Yeah.
then I've actually had heart surgery, so I'm not allowed to do it. And at
Oh,
one point they said to me about the coils meant to help with pain as well, because my periods are like the first
yeah.
few days I feel like I'm gonna pass out from the pain. Um, in
All
fact,
right.
they are
Okay.
looking into endometriosis at the minute because of it. But yeah, so basically, I tried to have the coil fitted, and that was like a no go. I won't go into graphic
Mm.
details of that and stuff. But yeah, so
God,
like
I can
it
imagine.
yeah, so well, I'm obviously at the time I'm 5'2". At the time I was like 7 stone 8, and I've never had children either, so it was
Mm.
horrendous. I nearly hit her. She was horrible as well, the woman.
Oh,
So in the end I was just like, forget it, it's not worth it. I'll put up with the pain, it's fine. So yeah, so like I don't think people realise that although they call it like birth control, it's actually like for a lot of women about like trying to ease pain off. But unfortunately, there's a lot of other side
mm.
effects that sometimes outweigh what you was even doing it for in the first place. Um,
Yeah, I've got to say the the actual coming off the pill and stuff has been quite hard because I think my hormones have gone mental anyway,
yeah, yeah,
and obviously not my body's just not used to
not being on
what
it.
it's done and stuff. So
Yeah,
sometimes I get these symptoms and I'm thinking, is that due because of my hormones or is it my Crohn's? It's like I
yeah,
don't know anymore because they're
yeah,
all so similar, like pains and stuff. And
yeah,
but yeah, my body's going through a lot of stick at the moment,
yeah,
trying to get back to normality. But yeah, like with the psoriasis, it was really really bizarre that obviously because it is an autoimmune problem, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
just makes you think, doesn't it?
yeah.
Like is hormones a massive part of it, and
Well, it's not just that as
I
well.
don't I don't know.
Crohn's is known for obviously causing skin problems as well. Because I don't know about
Yeah,
you or anyone watching, but I must admit, since I've been on steroids, actually my skin's like way better because it was like sandpaper, and all
yeah,
my hair when I'm shampooing it, I actually use Nioxin because I've always constantly
yeah,
been anemic, and I find my hair sheds out and it's always like bone dry. And even my hair was like getting to the point where I was like, I know like I lift it and stuff, but and obviously I've got like major roots at the minute, but like I know that I'm not the best hairdresser in the world, but I know I'm not a bad hairdresser. And like I don't know if you've worked with Olaplex and stuff, but I literally live off that stuff. So
yeah,
all the sort of most expensive hair products going are on my head, so I feel like I should be
yeah,
counteracting a lot of it. And I was still getting loads of breakage and stuff. So I think that if there's anyone watching who doesn't obviously have IBD, it's not just about like people think you just go for a poo all the time, but like you've got skin problems, hair problems, joint problems,
yeah,
obviously pains that God knows what, you can end up with blockages, all sorts really. So I think the problem a lot of the time when people hear bowel disease, they just assume toilet problems and that is it. And it's
it's not
like,
all.
no,
Yeah,
there's so much more to it than that. Um,
yeah,
so with going through like your diagnosis process, and obviously you're saying about struggling mentally and stuff, because I think most people who've had that diagnosis will all agree that it does sort of feel a little bit like a death sentence, whether you like it
mm,
or not. I mean, it is a difficult thing to sort of come to terms with, and not just that, the people around you as well, like friends and family.
yeah,
I mean, for me at the time, while I was going through a lot of the diagnosis, I was actually with someone. I'd been with him about 8 months on and like probably in total, I think, over that time. And I must admit, I did not take it well either. I was very much down in the dumps and
mm,
everything, and it put a strain on it for me. And I think looking back, like as much as they didn't intentionally mean to, they could make me feel really guilty about it, because obviously not being well enough to do stuff and you're scared to leave your
mm,
house because of needing the loo, especially because you're flaring. Um, and at the time for me, obviously, I kept getting told it was IBS and I needed to stop stressing. So you're obviously stressing more because you're like, why can't I just sort
mm,
myself? And obviously I was never going to be able to. But
yeah,
like it put a lot of pressure on it for me. So how did you? How's you? Because obviously you're married. So how have you found
yeah,
that's been? Have you had like the support? Has it been hard? Like, do you mind me asking?
yeah. No, no, it's I am really lucky. I'm really quite close to my family, and I think. especially my husband, he sort of had more faith in me than
Yeah.
I did, with
Yeah,
coping
yeah.
with it and being able to, live with something like this. And he's like, look, I know you're a lot
Stronger.
stronger than you
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Although you think you've been given this, like, yeah, like you say, like a death sentence sort of thing. It's you'll be okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's like just what you want to hear, isn't it? It's just
Yeah, yeah.
everything. And like my mum was really supportive. My mum was beside herself, bless her, because
Yeah.
she just saw me go from being okay to just I just crying all the time. I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
literally I'd just have a conversation with her and I'd be crying and she'd be looking at me. We'd be talking about something else
Yeah, I do
and
that
she'd be
even
like,
now.
oh dear,
Yeah,
and
still
she'd
now,
just
year later, I still do it.
and yeah, she just used to look at me. Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Just keep talking. It's just every now and then I just have like a proper dip, um, and I just felt like I think you've got control of like things in your body and stuff, and I just felt it just disappeared all of a sudden because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
Um, and it was awful, like to think that, like you at any point, because this is most of the time these things happen just all of a sudden as well, don't they?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just moving
your
my whole
symptoms
bottle.
and stuff.
Yeah,
And for me to sort of, especially with like work and stuff, because I'm a mobile hairdresser at the moment, all that was going through my head was, well, if I go to work and then I get really ill, and I think it's the thought, not so much of being ill, but the feeling of letting people down. I don't
yeah.
know.
Guilt
That's
all
that's
the
that.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah.
I, I felt guilty more than anything, and like because I had to cancel people like over the most busiest part of
Yeah,
our year.
yeah,
Like coming up to Christmas and stuff, and
yeah,
I just had to tell them all. I don't think I bet I've had like maybe like a handful of days where I've had to take off sick,
yeah,
but this wiped me to the floor. It were awful.
yeah,
But I mean, I do have some CBT sessions as well
yeah, yeah.
with
Good.
the
Yeah,
lady on Zoom, and she's really good. I have had I have had sessions with her before when I was younger,
yeah,
and that was to do with sort of the fear of I had a fear of being sick in front of people, like in public situations and stuff.
yeah.
Um, and I rang her and I said, look, I've had this diagnosis and I'm not scared of being sick now, but I'm scared of shitting myself in public now. And she's just like, all right, okay, that's fine. And she started off, and she's been really, really good. I've got like some books and stuff to read as well, like if you're not into like actually speaking to people as well, so I can
Yeah, yeah,
share some of them.
yeah,
But yeah, that has helped quite a lot.
yeah.
Just to put things in perspective, really. To like sort of yeah.
While I was waiting on my diagnosis, I saw I was plummeting really bad because I do suffer quite bad with anxiety. I
Mm,
found out around the age of 19, so I did have a bout on antidepressants when I was about 19. I was on and off them till
mm,
I think they tried me on them again around the age of 24 for IBS. And then obviously
mm,
come off them again. I haven't been on antidepressants now for I reckon about 3 4 years now. And I could see myself plummeting, and I thought I'm not going back on tablets. You've done so good over the last how many years. You've got yourself out of a big hole. You're not going back there. So I did
yeah.
actually go and sign myself up, and I did go through CBT for like living with a long-term health condition. Um,
Mm,
if anyone's been diagnosed with any form of illness, especially lifelong, even if it's not IBD, it's just, I don't know, anything autoimmune, invisible illness, whatever, and you're feeling isolated, because at some point you are going to feel isolated whether you like it or not, because it's hard for people to fully, even if people want to understand, it's very difficult for them to, because I think they can't always comprehend the thought you might be waking up in pain, going to bed in pain, waking up in pain. Like most people who've got a cold, they know if they go to bed and rest, at some point they're going to feel better. Whereas with other
This
illnesses
is
like
ongoing.
Crohn's, you ain't ever really fully gonna feel better ever. And like a lot of my friends sometimes I think they think I'm gonna be on these steroids and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be like cured and I'll be able to
Yeah,
eat and
okay.
drink and do, and it's like sorry, not gonna happen. So anyone who isn't or who hasn't already gone through therapy or anything, I do highly recommend it just to be able to like cope with what you're going through. I found it really good. In fact, I've just finished mine about a few weeks ago. She's really happy with my progress and that. And like when I look back when I first started mine, I joked with her saying, you know what, I didn't realise how angry I was. Like I thought
Yeah.
mainly with mine it was more like emotional, like hurt and upset. But I actually was like angry over
Mm.
the slightest thing. Like I do feel like for me, my initial reaction looking back was actually more so anger, really bad.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a
She did
funny
sort of
one,
say
yeah.
to me about that because I said I got to a point where I was just really annoyed that this had happened to me. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person. Why would why would something
Yeah.
like this
I think
happen to
everyone
me?
says that at some
Um,
point, yeah.
and yeah, she went through it all and stuff, and I am a lot better now,
Yeah.
mentally, sort of coping with it. Um,
I think it's one of those things that you're always going to need to check in with yourself. Like, I
yeah,
feel you're always going to have, like, say for instance, tomorrow, if you flare up quite bad, it is going to take its toll. So you are going to need to check in with yourself and go, right, let's address what's going on and try and get myself back on track. And to think that you're always going to be 100% happy all of the time is just like, without being rude, bullshit. It's not going to happen. Like,
mm,
everyone's going to have a bad day. I think it's just a case of making sure that the bad days don't pile up to the point where you're back to
yeah,
square one. Obviously, you've got to keep maintaining it. Um, but I do think,
yeah.
like I
I
say,
mean, I've always had sort of like really bad health anxiety. Anyway, I'm sort of
yeah, yeah,
like constantly checking on yourself all the time. Like, oh, if I feel ill or what's that? What's that pain and all this.
yeah, same.
My my husband's got me in this phone as Melman. The giraffe from, is it Madagascar or whatever?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
with the health anxiety. Because I'm just constantly like, oh my god, what's that? And yeah.
I must admit,
So
though, from what I've seen online, apparently, a lot of people with Crohn's and like similar autoimmune problems apparently are. It's quite common to get a bit obsessed with checking on your health because I think
yeah,
the slightest change can actually be quite serious as well. So I do think you get
mm,
more heightened to checking in to make sure your body's like functioning normal and like not
yeah,
misbehaving. Well, it's already misbehaving, but not being worse than it already is, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, CBT has sort of helped me sort of like put all this normally, like sort
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
think logically about it all. And it's stuff like that, sort of like checking yourself or is checking at how you feel all the time.
yeah,
Because other than that, it's exhausting as well.
yeah,
Just constantly stressing about, oh, have I got stomach ache? Have I got this? Have I
yeah.
got that? It's really tiring thinking about it all the time.
The thing is, though, as well, I think if you keep panicking, like my family will verify this. So, um, if I was to go out, I can almost make myself feel worse on the basis that in my back of my
Yeah,
head I'm thinking, please don't be bad. You're gonna let everyone down. Please don't be bad.
yeah,
Like before I was diagnosed and I thought it was IBS, I literally would go out and I could barely even eat a chip off a plate. And I think people used to
mm,
think I was embarrassed about eating in front of them, and I was like, I don't care if you watch me eat like a pig. I'm not bothered about that. It's in the back of my head. I'm thinking
mm,
about, oh God, if I'm bad. I don't,
mm.
I've got a phobia of public toilets, so just so everyone knows. If I've
All
got to
right.
be bad, I'm not being bad in a public toilet. I can't even be bad,
Yeah,
like, if I had a boyfriend of 4 years, it'd take me forever to be bad at the head. I'd need to go home. So, like,
I think one thing I have sort of learned, I think it has brought me and my husband closer.
it's good.
Um, because I mean, I didn't even want to tell him at first about
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
going on and stuff, and I thought, God, I'm going to actually have to say that there's something wrong with me
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um, So yeah, we definitely. I mean, even on that night with the prep,
Yeah,
it was.
I can imagine. I'm glad I
Yeah.
was alone. Yeah, glad I was
Yeah.
alone on that night. Yeah. Um, yeah, so like I think for me, I've worked myself up into such a state of already like set myself up to fail because it's constantly in the back of your head, especially when you go out for food with friends. Like this is a social event, really.
Yeah.
Like they see
Yeah.
that as a social event, whereas I see it as like, oh God, this is, I don't want to eat and I don't want to be bad and I
Mm,
don't want to have to go home or ask people to leave early because I'm ruining their night for them.
yeah.
And I think for
That's
me,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of my food anxiety is more aimed at like eating in groups. Like I will purposely try and go out my way a lot of the time to not have to eat around people because if I think it
Mm,
does always come back to you feel like you're letting people down and it's just a
yeah.
meal, but
Yeah.
you're letting people down. Like that's in your head how you feel because you can't function, I suppose, in that setting,
Yeah.
be like a normal
Yeah.
person. So it is quite
Yeah.
frustrating and it's very upsetting. It's very isolating because most people wouldn't take for like they'd just go for a Christmas dinner or like go to see friends out for a meal
Not
or a
think about
drink and
it.
not think. Whereas
Mm,
most people with Crohn's in the back of their head are always going, don't really want to.
mm,
How do I get out of this or whatever?
mm,
So I'd like it's understandable where a lot of mental health problems factor in
yeah.
as an illness, especially I think sometimes as a woman because it's not a very ladylike health issue to have
No,
either, is it
yeah,
really?
you really need to let that one go. I think just
Yeah.
just
Well, if you're
just be
gonna be
honest.
bad, you're gonna be bad. So it is what it is. You can't
Yeah,
help it at the end of the day. But I do think, see, as someone with Crohn's talking to someone with Crohn's straight away, I'd be like, oh, you can't help it. It's fine. Just you don't make yourself bad
yeah,
for other people. But guarantee you won't talk to yourself like that. You'll talk to other people like
no,
it, but your own brain's not talking to yourself like it at all.
no. That's what I keep telling people. Like the thought process is there, but
Yeah,
it's like I can't believe myself.
yeah, yeah,
And it's a really weird feeling, isn't it? Like I can talk like logically to people about it, and it still doesn't sink in.
yeah. So did you
Um,
say you'd got some books there? What is it you've
yeah.
got that you've been reading?
So for Christmas, I got loads of self-help books.
Oh really? Oh, do you want to know what I got for Christmas?
Oh, oh,
I got a load of joke books for pooing on the loo as well to keep you occupied as well. This
oh,
book, I must admit, actually to anyone who's watching, it's wrote. I don't actually know who it's wrote from. It's actually a book for it's called For Crohn's, but a lot of it did actually go to charity, I think. It covers everything from like diet all the way through to like people who are in relationships or dating. But the whole
yeah,
book is literally written on first hand account, so that it's written like they've literally say, for instance, I've interviewed you and then gonna put your information in here. So it's not by just like a doctor, it's real people living with it of all
yeah.
age ranges, like every
That's
background
good.
going. I do recommend it. I must admit that book that my parents bought me has been really good actually. Right, go on. So what
Bless.
books have you got?
One of the things was Cards Against Anxiety. See that?
Okay, yeah, cool.
So basically, it's going on with people that have, like panic attacks or
Yeah.
struggling to calm down. It comes with these little cards, and
Okay.
on the back, it sort of tells you different ways of coping with
Oh, I like
situations, and
that.
you can actually take them, put them in your wallet and stuff. So if you're out in public and you
Yeah.
start panicking or you have anxiety or whatever, got these things on the back you can just remind yourself how to do different
Yeah, that's really
techniques
good. I
on
like
the
that.
relax. They're brilliant. There's loads of them as well. Loads of different ways to feel better. So that's the anxiety one, and
Yeah.
then I think I spoke to you about this. That one about with the
Okay.
CBT.
Yeah.
That's basically that's with anything, whether it's like an illness and stuff, it basically helps people to accept what's going on. And there's some like little tasks and stuff and exercises to do in there as well, just to help you
I like
think
that. That's good. Yeah, I like that.
logically about
Yeah,
stuff.
what's going on? Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what my CBT therapist told me to get, and
Oh, okay.
it's really, really useful.
I might look into
Um,
that because that sounds like it'd be quite good for me, to be
yeah,
fair.
I think you can actually get ones that are actually dedicated to like chronic illnesses and
Oh, okay,
stuff like
that's
that as
pretty
well.
cool.
There are people that specialize in um, specifically for chronic people that have been diagnosed with chronic illnesses,
Yeah,
and sort of ways of accepting it. Because
yeah.
the problem is, I think people get this thing where you go to CBT and it's going to get rid of your anxiety, but it doesn't. It just helps you
Deal with it a little
like
bit better.
control it and
Yeah,
manage it.
yeah,
And I think people don't really understand that.
yeah.
You're never going to really. It's never going away. It's just you just get used to coping with it better.
Yeah, I think for me, so I think even looking back as a kid, I was always sort of a very anxious kid, but like I think it
Yeah.
sort of peaked around when I was about like I say 19 when it all started to like go downhill a little bit. Um And
Yeah.
like even now, I'm quite an OCD sort of overthinking sort of person. And like my friends all joke all the time going, "You're overthinking this Sam way too much." I'm like, yeah, but this is like my thing
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So like my mates all joke with me
Mm.
over the fact that it's like Sam's an overthinker, it's a thing. And like the fact I can
Oh
sort of
yeah,
see the
that's
funny
the same
side,
for me. Yeah.
the fact I can see the funny
Yeah.
side in it as well because it's true. So I like you say, I think if you can manage it, and I think as well a lot of people with chronic illnesses, it's really frustrating because we do go out and buy these books, we do go and find out what foods are meant to be better for us, we do go and
Yeah.
see if there's some mythical, I don't know, if you go swimming in a tea cozy eating oranges and it's going to cure you, we'd all go out and do it because you're
Yeah,
that
you try and do
desperate
it.
to.
Yeah.
And like I do feel like we all make a lot more effort to try and be healthy. Whereas obviously
Mm.
it can be frustrating because a healthy person's going out about their day and probably not really thinking anything of it. So it is
Yeah.
frustrating, and I do think it's actually really nice though to see just how much people will go out of their way when they're suffering to like try and actually get back to as much of a normal life as they can. But at the same time, I think people need to be aware that it's okay to understand that you're probably never going to fully live a normal life, and that's
Yeah.
okay as well.
Yeah.
But it's still quite hard to always come to terms with, especially like when you go back into a flare up. Because like the amount of times I've cried on my loo is unreal, to be honest.
Oh no.
Literally thinking, oh, just stop
Oh.
it. Why don't you just stop it and be normal? But um, yeah, like to think that obviously we're only more of a mild sort of situation as well. It just proved just how
Yeah.
bad it
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
be because it's bad enough as it
Yeah.
is. I wouldn't wish even mild um on my worst enemy, let alone anything
Yeah.
further than mild, to be honest. So anyone who is suffering like more severe and like fair play to you, really feel for you, really do.
Mm.
Like it's
And at such a young
crazy.
age as well. Quite a lot of
Yeah,
it's.
yeah.
I sort of associated Crohn's. It's something that kids
Oh,
got,
oh
and
really?
yeah, I never knew because obviously I'm 34.
Yeah,
I had no idea that it was something that anybody could get at any age.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but apparently, actually, I think is it something? Is it like between 20 and 30 that's
Yeah, I
most
was gonna joke saying you're a little
diagnosed
bit old
now?
for it.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. And people were actually saying to me when I started all this,
Yeah.
you say, oh well, you got on the old side. It's usually kids and stuff. So yeah, it's bollocks that you can get it at any age.
I think as
I think
well, it just because you've been diagnosed at 30, like 34, say, it's not to say that you probably weren't experiencing symptoms way before that. You probably just weren't really thinking about
yeah.
it. So, like, I was technically diagnosed at like 27, but I've been experiencing symptoms, I would say, definitely since about the age of 24, 25. No, sorry.
Mm,
I took my business on, so about 23. So I've been having the symptoms from about the age of 23. And then Joe last week was actually 15
Yeah.
when he was diagnosed. He's now like, I think 25, 26.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot
Yeah.
to go through as a teenager as well. My camera's gonna go off, but I must admit I'm really grateful I was actually slightly older. Because like Joe was saying
Mm.
about being a
Yeah.
teenager, it's bad enough with hormones as it is without having to go through everything else on top. And like especially if you
Yeah.
like 15, you would have been just getting ready to go through GCSEs plus hormones plus being like
Mm.
a lad or a girl or whatever and all the extra crap. Plus kids are pretty horrible on top of that. um
Yeah.
I must admit, I am glad in a way it got me a little bit later, weirdly. And
Yeah.
I'd rather not have it at all, but if I'm going to have it, I'm glad that it come a bit
Sort
later
of
on,
got
I
past that
guess.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Um, if there's anyone obviously who is watching and in the comments, if you want to ask any questions for Jen, obviously feel free, by the way. If you're not following and you're sort of liking what you're hearing, please do follow us as well. Any questions that you've got that you want to ask is always great. I know there's quite a few coming for Joe last week. So if you do have any for Jen, especially because it's nice to have someone who's in a relationship as well. I think most of the other people I've got lined up are all single, to be honest. So they're all sort of
Oh.
avoiding, like, most people don't, like, when you talk to them about dating and stuff, it's a bit like, not, I don't think I'm going to bother, or like, whatever.
Oh no, but that's
Um,
awful, isn't it? Um.
yeah, but no, I don't know. It's one of them, really, isn't it? So, um, I think for like the whole dating setup, it's like at what point would you tell someone? Because it's very difficult not to say something when, say, you can't really go out for a meal or you can't really go for a drink or whatever, because you've got to probably go and
Mm.
do something else. So at some point that would become rather suspicious if you constantly, not the main two things is a
Yeah.
food and drinking it. So I feel like
Mm.
people will go, oh, just don't tell them, like, ease them into it. And I was like, yeah, but don't work like that, unfortunately. In fact,
Yeah.
before I was even diagnosed, obviously my appetite was going down. I was barely eating, and I saw someone about 5 times in a row, and I think they were starting to think I'd got like an eating disorder, because although I'm not like stick thin, obviously I was constantly going, oh, I've just eaten, and then eventually they got to the point where there was like, so what was the last meal you ate? Like, when did you eat it? And I'm
Oh.
thinking it was like 10 o'clock today, and it was like, like, I don't know, breadcrumb, please don't ask and stuff.
Oh.
So like I think that's one as well that I think it's nice to sort of hear when people do say they've got like a supportive partner or whatever, because I think it is nice to think that there are people obviously out there who have got supportive setups and stuff, or like from family or friends and that as well. Because for me, obviously, yeah, I'm single, but I've got great friends and family around me,
Yeah.
so I have still got a great support network around me. Um, but yeah. Well, that's literally already been an hour already, so that was going really quick. Um, so Jen was telling me about her sister, and I absolutely love this idea. In fact, I did go and have a really good look, and I even went on the website. So Jen, do you want to tell us a little bit about what your sister's got set up?
Yeah. So my sister is actually a psychologist, and she set up a Facebook page called there you go, Heavy Metal Therapy,
Yeah, I've got it all
and
nice and
it's
pretty and
a
set up.
oh you have so good. So it's a mental health platform linked to social media. She's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and it's basically about the possible well-being effects of listening to heavy metal therapy, heavy metal music. So she does stuff like blogging, and there's recovery stories on there, and there's actually some playlists that people can sort of add to as well, and it's for different sort of emotions and situations and stuff. And yeah, it's kicked off really quite well. I don't think she expected it to be as big as it actually
Yeah,
is, and she's
there's like over 6,000 followers, I think,
yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah, it's brilliant. She's got all the support, and so much so that she's had to get some t-shirts made for people, and she's shipped them out all around the world to people that have been following her.
No, that's great. Thank you for the new follow as well, by the way. Hi and welcome. Yes, like, so I know obviously it's metal music, but do you know what a lot of people say about rockers and metal is like, oh, it makes you more depressed or it makes you more angry and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's a lot of hate around it. I mean, me personally, it's more my sort of genre towards the rock metal side. I am a massive music fan. I take after my dad. He like proper loves all sorts of music, and he really got me into it. And I love like live gigs. In fact, that's one thing. I might not be able to eat, I might not be able to drink, but I can go to a gig, and
yeah,
enjoy
exactly.
myself. Um, so
Yeah,
it's quite an interesting fact that she's doing it through metal music. I absolutely love that because it's like sticking your fingers up to people who are going, "Oh no, it's devil music, blah blah blah."
yeah, yeah. There's so many sort of musicians and singers or whatever that she finds all these quotes and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's all really good. And the amount of people that have has followed her in the last sort of year or so has been incredible, really.
no,
So
I love it.
it
It's
obviously
great.
works.
Yeah, definitely. No, to be honest, I did go and give her a follow actually, I think, on Facebook, and I will do it on Instagram as well. If anyone wants to follow, I have just put hashtag heavy metal therapy because it is both on Facebook and Instagram. And the
Yeah,
website that's on the screen at the minute, it was really easy to find on Google. I had a good look on it and everything, and fair play, I do love it, especially like I say, if you're someone like me who's really into your music and stuff. It's like sticking it to the
yeah,
people who do go, "Oh, no, don't know."
yeah.
Drive angry listening to that metal music you do. Right, so just to finish up, obviously, is there anyone at all who does want to ask a question? If not, it's totally fine, but it is there as a feature, especially while we're live, if anyone does actually want to ask anything. Um, at all? No? Right. Um, to be fair, I feel like we've sort of raced through that. Like, it feels like only 5 minutes we've been chatting, so I know it's gone really
I
quick.
know.
Um, Next week, I am sort of talking about stomach issues again, but it's slightly going away a little bit from a Crohn's diagnosis. And I know that person talks a lot about mental health on their Instagram as well. So that'll be quite good. And then after that, I am slowly starting to move on to people who don't actually have Crohn's, have got other health issues. So like a few, like one's got endometriosis and polycystic ovaries. Um, and then I've got a few other different people to sort of cater for a few different invisible illnesses like autoimmune problems. And it's funny how mental health constantly pops up
Yeah,
in all of them for people. So I think even if you like on the whole quite a healthy individual, it's quite normal at some point to experience mental health issues. I know they reckon like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4, but to be honest, I think that's bollocks. I think it's much higher than that. I think at least at some point through your life you're gonna have a down spell. Especially now because of COVID as well. I think it's important more than ever to sort of be checking in with yourself. So if anyone is into their music and obviously had a bit of a tough time through COVID, definitely go and give Jen's sister a follow. It'd be really good. Right then, should we wrap this up, Jen? Would you
yeah,
like to
sure.
say goodbye to everyone?
Hi, thanks for being nice.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. If you've stayed from the beginning to the end, or if you've just poked in, and for the new follows, we will be back again. Obviously, like I say, next week I'll be talking about what I've just gone through. So it'll be 8 o'clock again. If anyone does want to watch my Monday night streams as well, where I'm gaming, that's a very different sort of stream. So that's a little bit more tongue. Well, but I'm someone who drops a shit word quite a lot. In fact, my parents were always telling me off for like swearing like a trooper, but it's a very different stream. So whereas like I'll joke about Crohn's and stuff here, on a Monday when my friends are on it, it's very carnage. Like there's constantly Pornhub being brought up and very brutal jokes aimed at each other. So that stream's also at 8 o'clock. So obviously Monday is just like messing about night, and then Wednesday's a bit more serious, and like although we have a laugh and a joke, it has still got a more key message to it. So yeah, so thank you all for joining, and hopefully I'll see you all soon. And no problem at all. Thank you for the nice comments, especially for like commenting so many times and bringing questions and stuff. Right, see you all later. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.